Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Meet the Gies Faculty series on Poets and Quants. I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. And today we have a clinical professor of accounting. I think, kind of breaks the stereotype of how accounting is taught. His name is Brian Hamm. He has been CFO of a couple of companies before becoming a professor and teacher. Brian, welcome.
Thanks, John. Happy to be with you.
So one of the intriguing things I gather from your career is not only that you take an incredibly practical approach, but you link leadership values in the teaching of accounting, which I find unusual. How did that come to be?
You know, the role of accounting and finance professionals, it's evolved. I mean, no longer is it just you speak up when there's a numbers question. Now accounting and finance professionals are expected to be well-rounded business partners and business leaders, right? And so you have to be able to interact and communicate, with all functions, all departments, and that leadership and the values that our accounting and finance grads coming out of Geese, it's going to be critical important for them to fulfill that new and evolving role that's expected in the business world.
And I think that's even more important today than ever before because number one, the advent of AI will take over a lot of the debits and credit stuff, and even some of the first level analytics. And truth is, CFO is always at the table, and then a number of people below him are at the table, leadership table. So that is going to become even more so with AI as AI takes over more of the drudgery work in business, don't you think?
Yeah, a lot of students have approached me and said, boy, am I selecting the right career in accounting? AI is going to do it for us, right? And I said, well, yes and no. Is it some of the, routine tasks? Yeah, we're going to be able to leverage that powerful technology, but your role as an accounting professional, it's going to evolve. And when it evolves, that's the fun stuff, right? Is it now you have a seat at the table. You're making those numbers come to life and actionable. And so, yeah, AI is going to change how we do our work, but in my opinion, I think it's going to be for the better.
And you have an interesting framework, teach accounting. It's your 4P framework. Explain what that is.
Yeah, and so I like to emphasize with the students that your role as an accounting professional, it's a business partner. You have to be a leader, and the accounting, the debits and credits are easy, but leadership is tough, right? And so it starts with being my first P is a partner, so being a well-rounded business partner, find a way to get involved. The second P is passion. You're going to spend more waking hours at work than you will with your friends and family,
So
during the
true.
week, and sometimes even the weekend. The third P is positivity, and that's tough, right? Because it's easy to highlight the bad news and to bring an issue or a problem or a challenge to, your supervisor's table, but for every issue and every challenge, bring a recommended solution. And it kind of goes back to um, that that concept of being that well-rounded business leader. And so the last P is patience. And that's tough for all of us, especially type A personalities. But
Absolutely.
with patience, um, it's 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 about empowering others. It's about empowering your team to ensure that you have the patience to allow them to maybe do it a different way than what you would do it. But that's okay because part of being a leader is developing the next generation of leaders.
Exactly. Now, before you started teaching at the Gies College of Business in 2018, you were CFO of True Green, and then before that, you were CFO of Energizer Holdings. Why the detour into academia?
You know, I've always wanted to teach, and I thought that I was going to be a high school teacher and a basketball coach. And
Ah,
and I actually used to coach the fifth and sixth grade basketball team for our team in the town that we live in. And I've always stayed active with the Alumni Association at Geese, and I put a call into Dean Brown one time and I said, "Hey, I'm not looking for a job, but if I ever wanted to do this, what do I need, right? And how do I apply?" And so one thing kind of led to another. Connected with Dean Brown and now Dean Elliott, and went through the interview process, and one thing led to another, and all the stars aligned, and I couldn't be happier. And this has come full circle for me because I graduated from 1995 from Geese and accounting. And then actually my very first year of teaching, my oldest son was a junior studying accounting at
oh
Geese as
wow.
well.
Oh my goodness. How fun is that?
Yep.
That's fantastic. And not only do you teach, but you are actually a master teacher. You were recently recognized for your teaching excellence in the classroom. What is it that motivates you, that wants you to share your learning, um, that makes you good in the classroom?
Yeah.
Don't be
So,
humble.
yeah. I think one of the things that students really appreciate is, you have to learn the foundation of accounting, but when you can bring kind of that industry perspective in the classroom and say, well, we're learning this, but this is how you're going to apply it in your future jobs and your future careers. Students just love that. And then to be recognized with, the award that I received last year, it was awesome, and it really speaks to um, our students, and the fact that in some small way, I'm making a difference, and the students have helped reward and recognize me for that.
What do you find most challenging about the shifting role that you've made here?
Well, two things. One is that how you deliver instruction is a heck of a lot different than how I
Mm,
was taught back in 1995, right? So gone are the days where it's a one-way conversation and there's a lecture and you're in a auditorium frantically taking notes. Now it's a two-way conversation. You have to um, continue to ways to provide value for students. You have to give them a voice, and you have to willing to be challenged, and then in turn challenge them back. And so it was humbling, and it was exciting, and it's what makes this role still exciting. And number two is that the rapid pace of change, from
mm.
technology to earlier this month, the US election is going to drive a tremendous amount of change, and accounting professionals are going to be at the center of all of that, helping companies lead and shape and understand all of that change. And so continuing to update your material and your curricula to keep everything current, and so that our Geese graduates are prepared to be those future business leaders when they leave Champaign and start their careers.
And what was the most surprising thing when you shifted your roles and you went to the front of the classroom?
was it was a very humbling experience. I'll be honest, John. Is that so? In my career, I've been vice president of FP&A, I've been chief accounting officer, I've been chief financial officer.
You're used to
But
being in the boardroom with a lot of pressure over numbers, for God's sake.
yeah, but it wasn't until, preparing to teach intermediate accounting too, did, really the light bulb go off a little bit for certain
Mm.
items to say, huh, well, that's why we used to account for it that way and disclose it that way, right? And so, it was a learning experience for me as well. But I think that, owing that vulnerability to your students to say, what, don't be afraid to admit if you don't know something and ask for help. And so I wouldn't have gotten to where I've gotten in my career without help from and guidance from a lot of mentors, and,
Mm,
and that's what it's all about. And so just making sure that students know that they don't have to do it on their own, I think that goes a long way as well.
absolutely. So now, earlier you made the point of saying that you've had a student come to you and ask about the future of accounting, given the dramatic use of AI in everything that we do. And where it is today is not where it's going to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But you seem incredibly optimistic still about accounting because, after all, it is the language of business for one thing. It's absolutely essential. It's how we measure one's performance in an organization and the performance of a company. And I know that there has been a shortage of accountants in recent years, and in fact, a rather severe shortage. But looking out 5 years, how do you see this profession evolving and changing? And will it be as dynamic as it already is?
Yeah, it's the roles are going to be a lot different. I think it's incumbent upon us as educators and accountants in the accounting profession is to continue to provide visibility to the students that that accounting degree provides the foundation and optionality that you can go into a lot of different directions, with having that knowledge base of accounting, because to your point, it is the language of business. Heck, I went through most of my career and I never made a journal entry, and I was an accounting major, right? And so most of my career was on the
Right.
finance side. Some of my close friends that I graduated Geese with, a former interim CEO of SoulCycle, an investment banker, a lawyer, right? And so, where I see the profession, and it gets back to being that well-rounded business partner. And that's where I think, we need to ensure that our students are prepared. They're able to communicate, not just talk in numbers, but make those numbers come to life and communicate it in a way that someone that maybe doesn't have an accounting or business background can still understand and make those numbers actionable.
Now, even though you teach accounting in a number of courses at Gies, you've been exposed to the business school environment again for 6 years. I wonder how you see the business school of the future evolving. It's a broad question, but I'm sure you've had your own thoughts about this.
Yeah, innovation is going to be key, right?
Mm.
Is that, those business schools that are going to be successful and leaders are going to find a way to not only keep pace with the all this rapid change that we're going through, but finding a way to have a pulse as to what's around the corner so that we can prepare our students. I think at Geese, we've done a great job of that, building data analytics into the curricula, now not shying away from AI, really embracing AI. But, I think it's going to be incumbent upon the business school is to continue to, have a mix of industry professionals like me and, career academics that, are focused on research and all working together to have a pulse as to kind of what are the emerging trends, and then taking that input and those insights and then baking it into our curriculum.
I think you're right, for sure. Well, Brian, thank you for your time. It's been a real pleasure to meet you, and I wish I were younger and could take your classes.
Not too late. So you can sign up for the MBA program. John, it was a pleasure.
All right, that's Brian Hamm, who is a clinical professor at the Gies College of Business at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. Someone who makes accounting exciting, relevant, and very much in the present and future. This is our Meet the Gies Faculty series. Thanks for watching. Look out for other episodes. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants.